Hey there, friends. A couple of things. I had to take a couple of days off because I get this elbow thing. I mean, most people probably call it tennis or golf elbow, but I call it mouse elbow. So anytime I'm doing a lot of that, the last couple of years, it's like a nightmare. So I've learned to take a day or two off, but I also got this steroid compound cream by my sports doctor in Nashville, and I got a few bottles of it before I left because apparently I can't get that here, or at least not easily. My doctor was like, "What is this?" I gave her the prescription, and they'll take any prescription I get written up, and she took the prescription. She's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Okay, never mind." Fortunately, I got a couple bottles of it, so I put it on. And I still feel it, but if you take a couple of days off and you're not doing really intense stuff, like making an album, you're okay. So took a couple of days off. And then today I spent half the day literally updating firmware. I would highly recommend, if you have devices that you use regularly, check the firmware. Check the firmware on your DAWs. Your interfaces, your drivers. Bob Olson and I check our drivers once a week. We check our plugin updates once a week. It just makes everything run smoother, but I hadn't done firmware on some devices for a while. So now I've updated the firmware on everything I own. And like I said, I always do the computer and the DAW and interface and plugins once a week. So usually like on a Sunday, I'll just go through everything. It's good practice. So what I want to talk to you about today is I think I'm going to do, so I've got the next two songs. I mentioned song 6, it's called Rotten Dream. I've got it queued up. I hurt my elbow working on that and a little bit on song 7. Not a lot. All I did was put down a scratch guitar and a scratch vocal, and not even a really good scratch vocal, to be honest, on Rotten Dream. And on song 7, I know what key it's going to be in, and I finished the song, but I did kind of set up the tempo. I figured out the tempo. I know the key. So I created a template and did some kind of VCV rack. Remember, I mentioned VCV rack. It's free. So, download yourself some, check it out, and be patient with it because it can be really, really cool. And if you want to learn and not get frustrated, go to patchstorage.com and type in VCV rack, and people upload these crazy patches. All you have to do in the audio interface software out is pick what your interface is and what speakers it's going to. That's it. And it'll just start playing. Sometimes you have to hit the run on the clock if they have a clock in their patches. But anyway, go check it out. So I did all my firmware updates. I set up songs 6 and 7, and 7's gonna go a little further because there's no scratch vocal or a guide track, but there will be. That'll be my next thing. But I'm mostly, or if you ever saw The Princess Bride, I'm mostly going to be concentrating on song 6, Rotten Dream. So I'm going to stop for today because it was good to get all this firmware stuff done, and I want to give my elbow a rest, and I'm going to see a group tonight that I was invited to. It's a jazz with dance thing. Could be cool. Haven't done anything yet, really going out other than playing myself like with Workshop, and now you've seen a little video of Workshop. So tomorrow I'll get to work. The other thing I've got to do is I've got to start doing some body health maintenance. And for me, I take care of myself pretty good. I eat well. I don't eat a lot of garbage. I'm clean and sober. So, but I'm 63 years old. And if I'm going to go out on tour and I'm going to keep doing this, And I loved sports growing up. I was a sports nut. I gotta get back in shape. I'm actually 10 pounds less than when I lived in Nashville because it's all the walking I'm doing. So that's good. But I joined the gym. I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And then way after that, I'm working on song 6, Rotten Dreams. That'll be the next thing you hear. Probably make a video tomorrow after I get something that kind of sounds like I could play for somebody other than just for what I have now, which is just so I know what's going on. So in the meantime, I want to show you, if any of you have seen this, this is the Torso Electronics S4. What it is, it's a 4-track sampler recorder, but it has its own built-in effects. It's got 4 individual tracks. It's got MIDI. It's got ins and gazintas and gazaudas and all that stuff, and it's really cool. And I think as an experiment, I'm going to be learning this a little bit every day, but I think I'm going to do one song by itself on this, meaning 4 tracks, get as much done on 4 tracks as I can, transfer those 4 tracks directly to Pro Tools, and then do the vocals and maybe add some other stuff and finish it. But you could do like an old Tascam. You could bounce down because it's basically that, but just with way more. It's got granular, it's got slice and dice and all kinds. It's got built-in sounds. It's got, like I said, the effects. Anyway, that's the Torso Electronics S4. And as an experiment, as part of the series, I'll do a song on it. It shouldn't take too much longer to learn. It's not basic, but I can do it. The other thing I wanted to tip you off to, so I was looking for, don't mock me. I was looking for a Boss. I was looking at the Roland Space Echo, right? Because I love the Roland Space Echo. And the original, I think it was the RC20, which is the now discontinued one. You used to be able to get that for like $100 max. Remember? Now, ever since the new Boss has come out, I guess some people like using the old one better. The new one sounds better. I had one for a very short time, which is why I say don't mock me. I had the new one for about 6 months. I don't know why I sold it, because I spent a lot of time tweaking it and getting the saturation right and saving presets and having those. It was cool. But it's big. It's like this freaking big, And I'm not really sure that I'm down with this making pedals bigger thing. I don't know. But I got rid of it. So I've been kind of looking at it again. And so do I get the new one? But guess what? The old one, the prices have gone through the roof, at least that I've seen over here. And even on Reverb, wherever you are, they're not cheap. I was like, what the? They're like $180 is the cheapest I saw. And I'm like, that's a 20-plus-year-old pedal, and it wasn't that good. The new one does sound better than the old one, And so I was like, yeah. And then the new one, the cheapest one I saw was like 375 quid, right? 375 pounds. I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. And then I started reading some reviews, and I've always liked Nux or Nux, however they say it, products. And then I started checking out some reviews and demos, and I'm like, oh my God, the Nux sounds just as good as I remember the Boss. And it's what? It's $150? Yes, it's $150. So if you've ever wondered about this thing, I'm here to tell you, I had the old one. I didn't have the tape echo, although I've played through the real vintage tape echo. But I had the old RC20. I had the new model that came out like 2 years ago, and I've played this. This is as good as the new one. It has an app that you can tweak everything in the app if you want to. If you don't want to do menu diving, you can assign what the expression pedal controls if you use an Expression pedal. It's pretty amazing. It's stereo out, $150. And it sounds great. I updated the firmware, took me 5 minutes to figure it out. It's like, duh, you just download it from their site. So I wanted to give a shout out to Nux or Nux or whatever they are. They make some cool stuff. I've had their stuff in the past, and I've demoed the acoustic simulator and a few other things. Very impressive. This thing sounds terrific, and you know I'm picky as hell. And the reverb, that's the other thing. The reverb on this is way better than the reverb on the original pedal by far, because the reverb was crap. Really, that was the worst part of the original pedal. But it's better than the reverb on the new Boss Space Echo pedal, the big monster thing. Better reverb, and the delay sounds fantastic. So if you ever were, in the market or interested, check it out. Way cheaper, less than half the price. All right, that's all I have to say today. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna put this to use and see what we can come up with and record a couple more songs. I know what all 10 songs are gonna be now, so that's cool. And hopefully my little poor elbow will be fixed up by tomorrow and I can go see a show at the Barbican. We're going to the Barbican tonight. All right, thanks for being here. Catch you soon.